What's up, everybody? Good to be back as always. Sorry about being just a couple minutes behind. We were having a good old time in the Discord. If you haven't joined, um, you're missing out. I don't know how to say it. Everybody's flinging insults at each other, laughing, having a good time. It's just something else. But yeah, so we had the Battle Harden. Where was it? Cincinnati. That's the one. We had the Battle Hard in Cincinnati, and we had some pretty good. Um, you know, we had our first idea of the meta officially, right? So I know, Justin. I hate to do it, but it happens, you know. Also, I did 100% lock in that I will be going to Chicago Battle Harden. So I had to go and get a haircut and get more aerodynamic in my testing, you know. So I will be there. Please, please, please say hi if you see me in Battle Harden. And yeah, also like I want to do like some funny pictures and stuff because if you don't know Frank, Frank's the guy that did all the chain photoshops and stuff. He wants to do like a little interview thing, and I wanted to take some photos with some of the members of the community, and like he like photoshops them and stuff. So he's wanting to do one with me, and I want to get some good photos and stuff like that. So if anybody doesn't mind, would love to take that opportunity. If you see me in Chicago, we'll get some good ones. Yes, Andrew, I will be in Chicago, 100%. I am locked and loaded. What's up, Poland? I love to see it. I love to see it. That community over there, they're just amazing. They truly are. I played one of the guys that obviously I don't know Polish. I have a hard enough time with English, but there was one of the Pummel podcast. I don't know that Pummelawanko or something. I played one of those. I think his name was Mike. And I played him at the Calling Lil in one of the final rounds. We were kind of both on the bubble there. Great community, great guy over there. Check that out if you haven't. They run tournaments over there too, so it's great stuff. Let's see, Justin, TCG Talk, what's up? Man, if I had a place to crash around Chicago, I would. Yep, absolutely. For it to make monetary sense for me, I had to get a group of like 3 or 4 dudes to like go up there with and like kind of split cost, you know. So we're all hopping in a car on Friday and just riding up, and you know, we're gonna we're just gonna make it happen. But I will 100% be there. Like I said, if you see me there, please, please, please say hi, and hopefully, if we do get matched against each other, hopefully it's in the finals, right? That's the goal. That's the goal. How do you high roll versus wife? No. Well, that's what I. that's what I said during the last stream was, or I think it was the showcase match or whatever we did with Team Blue Pitch. I said that I was pretty clear to go to Chicago. I just needed to high roll against the wife, and we got there on that one. So we are all on board for Chicago. I'm sitting here trying to roll a crit right now. It usually never does. It's pretty rare. And also for your crit roll, if you have kids, it's always like -5 or 6 every time you roll. So, but shout out to the wife, man. Like it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't if she didn't support it. That is a fact. Let me go ahead and like we start every stream. Let me go ahead and you would think I would do this before, but we're gonna turn off the autofocus. There we go. All right. And give me a lift. If we weren't already a full car, I would be. Oh, you're talking to Rodrigo. Okay. Riding up there too. Yep, 25-minute drive. Yeah, I wish it was 25 minutes. I think we're driving 9 hours. But we do it for the game we love, right? All right, so what's on the docket for today? Well, we're gonna chat a little bit about what we learned from Cincinnati. We're going to kind of laugh at the tier list that I did. Not really. Um, kind of. I wanted to revisit it and kind of like go over again, like where, because I think what Mansant said on what Ethan said on his tier list video, that I was kind of too hooked on a very defensive meta. I think there was a lot of validity to that statement. So I'm actually going to kind of revisit that situation. And I did say Icelander was my dark horse, so we'll take credit where where it can be gained. um, does this thing before this unheard of? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so we're gonna go over Cincy, kind of talk about the meta, what I'm thinking about. I'm gonna tell you about my kind of hero decisions, what's on the table, what's not on the table, and why. And kind of like what I would, what are the top decks that we would want to play at Battle Hardened Chicago. For some reason, I thought you were talking about driving to Vegas. Ooh, no. We are located in the Southeast in Alabama and Georgia. That's where all the card guys are. So that would be quite the hike. We'll definitely be hopping on a plane for that one for sure. Definitely, definitely. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in. Why? Well, I guess let's talk about what happened at Cincinnati. Okay, so we had a lot of Lexi and Viscerai, right? I'm the Viscerai kind of surprised me because I think that I understand the thought process, right? Because Viscerai on the surface seems like the best Rune Blade decision because you have like a lot of explosiveness. You can kind of raise Lexi because she lost her bullseye bracers, but at the same time, we all kind of knew that she was going to have that ice package, whether it be Winter's Bites, Ice Quakes, whatever flavor it was going to be. We knew that the frostbites were going to be present, and that's why I didn't, knowing that, I guess we didn't know. Just everybody in their mother basically speculated that all the Lexis were going to have ice packages. So with that being said, couldn't really justify the Viscerai decision. So it really surprised me that was the second most represented deck. And we saw that idea come to fruition when none of them topped 8, right? Dagan, what's up? What's up? Are you going to be in Chicago, Dagan? Let me know. Let me know. So I saw on Twitter that you were thinking about it. I didn't see if you had committed or not. Yeah. So Viscerai conversion was the absolute worst, right? Second most represented deck. Not a single one made it in the top 8. Go figure. Then the next deck was Dromai, and Dromai, unless you're Mara, it historically has not had a very good conversion. The one thing that I would be very interested in knowing is what percentage of the 8 Dromais were Big Dragon or more Empress Dromai. I think that would be very interesting to have that data point. Were all of them on Big Dromai and Mara made it because she was on Empress? Like that would be there would be a lot of data points that you could extract from that, a lot of valuable ones. And oh yeah, got to figure out a last minute stay. Okay, so I would say you could stay with us, but we already got 5 in one hotel room. So sorry that I can't help you out on that, but I definitely would if I could, 100%. Yeah, next on the list was, if I'm not mistaken, Briar. I don't have it in front of me, but Briar. I mean that one kind of makes sense, right? Because the idea of Briar is she has a bunch of blue cards that she doesn't like need for most turns, right? So in the realm of like aggro decks, Briar kind of makes the most sense, right? Because she's very aggressive, she has big burst turns, and she has a bunch of blues that she theoretically does not need in most turns. So that seems like the perfect answer, right? The problem is you have that little. we also we get to laugh at my little short on Warmongers and how much I was wrong. Turns out if you read the card, it explains the card. Who would have known, chat? Who would have known that if you read the card, it explains the card? In my defense, it is worded in a very weird way. We've never seen a card kind of worded that way. It's giving me like first edition Caution vibes, almost like just of how it's kind of worded. But yeah, Warmongers and also Lost in Thought. Let me take a second to talk about Lost in Thought. Dromai. Now, all the Dromai players are going to say, "Oh, Dromai's favored against Briar," and I'm going to disagree with that. But now, because of Lost in Thought, I mean, it's tough, right? Because the problem is, this is the thought process between Lost in Thought playing it into Briar, right? So if you take my only attack, you break my whole turn, right? That's an easy win, right? What's up, Tall Timmy? What's up? But yeah, like if you take the only attack, it hard bricks the turn, and that's like an obvious win. But let's say I have 2 attacks, right? You can obviously take the better one, sure. But the real thing is when you take one of Briar's 2 attacks, in most situations, all you're doing is effectively taking her arsenal, right? Which has value. I'm going to get to that. That has actual impact in the game, right? Because you basically increase the odds of that Briar player bricking the next turn because they can no longer arsenal the attack that they were going to. So they have a much higher odd to or probability to brick the next turn. That is assuming that the Briar player doesn't do what I do, the whole card counting strategy. If you don't know what I'm referring to, it's the first stream I ever did. I basically incorporate a blackjack counting mechanism to where I count non-attacks and attack ratios concurrently as I draw cards and discard cards and everything to keep a rolling number, and that tells me like what the split is in my deck, so it decreases the odds of me bricking. And that's kind of how I avoid those situations, because every Dromai player that I've ever played against kind of, I feel like they're playing to that situation, and then they're shocked when it doesn't happen when they play against me, which is pretty. No, I'm not saying I don't brick. Don't get. I'm not saying that in the least bit. I brick, but I do mathematically reduce it as much as I possibly can. But bricks do happen. They absolutely do happen. But so Lost in Thought, TLDR, I think it's pretty good into Briar. It's made me consider some cards that I normally would not consider in Briar, and we're about to get to that spice. I'm going to show it. It's a draft card, and one that I'll give everybody a little. I ran it in my 2021 Chinamount Heroic Briar Nats list that I got 20th at. in the first US Nats, back when everybody was on um, Lightning, Plunder Run, Briar, whatever you want to call it. I was for that tournament, the one Tark took down. I was running Channel Mount Heroic Briar, just like I am today, and I had this card in it. And I think it's time that it might have a comeback. I'm not sold on it. I'm just trying it, and so far it's felt pretty good for what I'm trying to accomplish with said card. And we'll get into that in just a little bit when we go over what I'm currently looking at taking. Um, so next down the line, you had, I believe it was like Katsu and a little bit of Azuri, right? And Katsu, I like. I like Katsu as a pick. You know, Oldham's gone. That was one of his worst matchups because of the prevention. You could, you always had the threat of fatigue, so you had to put a bunch of cards in your deck that were not the most aggressive. And the power of Katsu is you can add non-aggressive cards and use them in aggressive manner via the hero ability. But the problem is, to fulfill that contingency, you have to hit, right? And you never were able to hit Oldham, right? So you could run Flick Flax in an aggressive matchup and not get punished in like a tempo negative way because you just discard it and go get the combo piece once it hits, right? The problem is you just have to make it hit, right? That's the only way you can not be net negative on the tempo in that situation. So I like Katsu as a pick. I think you need to answer a few questions. I think the Lexi matchup, I don't think you have to have an answer for the ice. Like, it's as simple as that. The problem with what ice does in the Lexi versus Katsu matchup is it basically makes all the information heads up for the Lexi player when it's their turn to block, which is one of the most important things when playing against Katsu, right? You need to. It's kind of like Dory, where you kind of need to know the possibilities of what could be, and then kind of placate to that. And Zorby said, "Bravo best deck." I think Bravo is a fantastic pick. I think it was like the fifth most represented in Cincinnati. You have a okay Icelander matchup, right? You have I think pretty good Lexi matchup. You have a horrible Briar matchup. I think that matchup is 90-10 Briar favored. Um, Bravo players will disagree, but I think it's horrific for Bravo. But other than that, you're good against Dromai. Like, Bravo's not a bad pick if you can kind of two-step the Rune Blades, right? If the Rune Blades get pushed into the loser bracket due to the Lexis and the Icelanders, I think you have a decent shot at like riding the winners bracket up. I really think it's a very solid choice, but if you lose like one of the first 3 rounds with Bravo, you're basically out of the tournament because you're going to get knocked down into decks where I don't think you're going to be as favored in. But that's my opinion, of course. And then you have Azuri. So Azuri is another one. Obviously, the marquee counter to Lexi. Probably Lexi's worst matchup, other than maybe Arachne. But who's playing that? So Azuri, like, you're giving up the Dromai matchup just about. As far as I'm concerned, or as far as I'm aware, there hasn't been any like tech breakthrough to kind of make the Dromai matchup that much more bearable. I mean, I've seen like hurls and stuff like that, but like, come on, 0 for 3. If 0 for 3s won the Dromai matchup, then Katsu would have a 100% win rate into it, right? And that's just not the case. I have been testing my Decimator Control Dory, and it's feeling so good. The only problem with that list is it just folds into Dromai. That's why currently I just can't. Me as a player, I have a hard time just playing a deck that like hard folds into something that has any type of meta representation. Like, a good example of like Oldham back when Prism in Pro Tour 2, where like Prism was running around. I would never play Oldham because I wouldn't want to sit down in a game and just know that I've lost. I don't mind sitting down and playing a game where, you know, you. I don't mind sitting down in a game and saying I'm at a disadvantage. Like, that's okay. But sitting down and playing like a 595 matchup is just not where I want to be. I would rather just like go take a lunch break. Levia or Levia, sorry. Yep, draw my matchup feels so bad. Absolutely. I was taking Arachne. I mean, hey, more power to you. You're gonna farm the Lexis. I need you to take every one of them out for me. I would be greatly appreciated. So let's talk about Levia, right? She's kind of like the new unknown. I mean, there's Vincent and Prism, but you know, I gave my opinion on Vincent. I just don't think she's super competitive. I think she does some cool things, but I just don't think it's enough. And the meta share at least confirmed that from what I was saying, and Prism even more so, right? So nothing too bad there. Just pulling something up in the back so we can discuss it. Yeah, because Prism obviously didn't do much. There was only one though in her defense, and we have to also keep in mind that there's a real thing when people are holding back in this season. I think it's a little early for people to be holding back, but you know, it is possible, and we kind of have to understand that it's a possibility, right? It just is what it is. And Kano gonna win the next battle, Harden? No. No shot. No shot. What does Kano beat? Don't worry, Justin. I'll wait on your answer. But I just don't think Kano has it. Simple as that. So yeah, that's like all the main heroes, right? That kind of sums up the Cincinnati situation, and everybody, of course, knows who top aided, who won. The most interesting thing that we really have to analyze is the impact of diplomacy, right? Warmonger's diplomacy. We saw the power of it for when Rhea played it against Nathan in the finals and basically got 2 free turn cycles off. I mean, it wasn't even close, and it was because of that card and in case. But Lexi players and everybody else is kind of prepping their decks to be ready for those situations, and I'm going to show you how I've done it in my list. And I think Warmonger is going to have a much it's going to be a lot less impactful during this battle harden, because people have had enough time to answer that question, right? For Lexi, you can run Trench and kind of, get rid of the card that's face down. That means you no longer have to flip, and you can start loading and shooting after you declare war. It also fixes the encase problem. You have encase freezes your equipment. It does not freeze your. It freezes your equipment and your hero ability, not your bow, and so you can't flip effectively. So you just activate Trench because it's an instant. You sink the face down card. You no longer need to flip, and you go on about your day. Right now, you're obviously not gonna run Trench into everything, right? I don't think that's correct. But it's going to be up to the Lexi players because the Rangers are obviously the people who get the Rangers and Viscera are kind of the decks that get hit the most by Warmongers, right? And yeah, so that's just everybody is deck building around that card right now. And what you need to not do if you're going to Battle Hard in Chicago is build around it too much, because then you're effectively paying an opportunity cost that may never ever be realized, and that's just not where you want to be, right? So be careful in doing that. Not exactly what we're looking to do. So I'm going to switch over, and we're going to talk about kind of last week's tier list and where I think I went a little wrong. So this was the tier list from last week. Lexi and Dromai were dead on, right? They're just very, very good decks. Okay, so this is kind of where the mistake happened. I put Prism over Vincent. I don't think that's correct. I would swap those two spots, but these three heroes in one. I think the only one that has the potential to stay there is actually Katsu. And then Fi and Dory probably go into either the top of two or the kind of like around here, right? That's the adjustment that I would make, right? Azalea did okay for the two people that were there. We saw Briar convert pretty well, so Briar could actually be in one. I don't disagree with that. And yeah, so overall, I did value defensive abilities too much. That's like the net result, right? I just overvalued being defensive, which, I mean, I do prefer that play style over just straight up racing. Anybody that's been on a couple of the streams knows that I build my Briar decks typically more defensively rather than just in your face aggro. And yeah, so we will go ahead and hop into the Briar list that is currently on the chopping block. Okay. Am I saying this is what I'm taking to Cincinnati? I am not. Okay. Or not Cincinnati to Chicago. I'm not saying that I'm locking this in. What I'm saying is I think this is the best way that you can kind of build Briar. That's my opinion. You know. And if I do take Briar, it'll be a build that kind of resembles this more than something else. But there's a good chance, there's a real possibility that I pivot to Lexi. I would say those are my top two right now. Is I will either be playing Lexi or Briar. I cannot play Dromai because I just don't have the reps, and it's a much more, it's like a knowledge check for a lot of the matchups. I just don't have those experiences yet, and I can't get them quickly enough. So that's not an option for me, although I do believe that it's a great pick. And then I also believe Bravo is a great pick. Azuri, not so much, because I think Dromai is just gonna eat you up. I mean, I feel like if you're playing Azuri, you're just playing like gym roulette, right? You just auto lose to Icelander and Dromai. I mean, it's just rough, right? So this is the list, okay? This is the card that I was referencing earlier. Now I know, chat, you're looking at like, why in the world does this dude have Seek Horizon in his Briar deck? And it's because of what we mentioned at the very beginning of the stream. Lost in Thought Warmonger's Diplomacy. This is a very quick answer to both of those at very little cost. Okay. Obviously, this is Nimble Strike. Just a one of Yanji did it in his, or Yuanji did it in his, and two felt a little greedy for me, but one has felt fine, and it is also a good solution for warmongers, right? So I guess let's define how do you beat warmongers, right? I guess that's what we need to define. Okay. So the two ways that you can beat warmongers, really the only way is you have a lot of the cards in your hand are the same type, right? So if you are Lexi and you don't have a face down card and you have all arrows in your hand, are you affected by warmongers? No. You just load, shoot, load, shoot, load, shoot, go, right? Whatever. If I have 13 and a half Ravenous Rabbles in my hand and they play warmongers, it doesn't affect me, right? I just go rabble, 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 rabble. So what Seek Horizon, the greatest threat for warmongers against Briar is you play it and I have like a good ratio, right? I got like 2 attacks and 2 non-attacks, right? And like the best option that I have is like 4, right? Because one of my 4s don't have go again, right? Or their go again is predicated on something like Scar being turned on or whatever the case may be, right? That's why E-Strike is actually more valuable than it has ever been, because no matter what the hand situation, you're good with that one. It's a very valuable card in the current meta, I believe, because of Warmonger. So Nimble Strike is just I use the quote, natural go again. I mean, it's close to natural go again because if you run 1, it's a very high probability that you have seen a Nimbleism before you see the 1 copy, right? That's why I don't like running 2. But heads up to you, Anji, for coming up with that. That was pretty good. The closest thing that I've came up on this like type of card, I played Vigor Rush in my 21 US Nats list as well, along with Seek Horizon. And so how am I combating warmongers? And the answer is Entwine Lightning, 1 Nimble Strike, and Seek Horizon, kind of as a package, because those cards typically when I draw them, right, have the ability to have synergy with the other cards in my hand that allow for, the ability to play multiple attacks, so I'm not that affected. Also, what this allows me to do is where the meeps? I do have meeps, but it's in a separate list. This is the defensive list that I have, and then I'm working on an offensive list. And I love the offensive list. Like I enjoy playing it. The problem is against Lexi, if they find their Arctic incarceration and they're not forced to block with it, you lose the game. It's like literally as simple as that. That 1 card can just be a silver bullet so quick, and they just dangle it over your head, and it's just the worst. Whereas defensive, you really don't care. It's like you're blocking down your whole hand anyway, and playing a 0 for 4, and just kind of playing the value game, which works even better now because they don't have that burst from Bullseye Bracer. So it makes it a lot easier to block because you know what to block. You don't get this cheeky bolt and shot from a 3 of a kind get slapped down after your Voltaire activations, and you have to block it last second. And the extra armor on Carapace really does help as well. So, like I said, my reasoning for running Seek Horizon and Entwine Lightning is just another set of cards that have the ability to have situational go again that I can create, right? we only have one press and 3 lightning surge to fuse the entwine lightning, which running on a clean 60, running all 4 is about 16.5% fuse rate every time I draw an entwine lightning. And then if I arsenal the entwine lightning off the 4 cards that I draw, it's about a 25% success rate on the fuse. So I'm not banking on it every time. I'm just trying to increase the odds of such things happening. And then Seek Horizon is always an option. Now, let me make Seek Horizon very clear. This is not a card that I'm trying to use the ability on 95% of the time. 95% of the time, this is a 0 for 4. Simple as that. It's not doing anything else. Literally. This card is just a 0 for 4 90% of the time. 95% of the time. However, when you get Warmongered, right? You play that. You put your Sonata on the top of your deck or whatever. And then you can play the other 0 for 4 in your hand, right? And kind of eke out 8 damage in that situation instead of just being able to play 4, right? So it's just trying to maximize the value in that situation. Now, chat, I'm surprised you haven't asked yet. And it's like, how do these cards increase your chance against cards like Lost in Thought? Well, I'm glad you asked, chat, even though you didn't. You got to keep me honest, chat. I tell you what. The reason that these cards help against Lost in Thought is because you get to run a higher rate. So this is a 58 card. I do my sideboarding very weird. I don't do like a main deck because I change so many cards that it's easier for me to like just run like a 60 and then kind of take stuff out and then put it in. That's just how I've always done my sideboarding. Sorry if that's not what everybody's used to, but it's just, I don't know. I started doing it and just haven't stopped. So this is like almost the 58 that I start with when I start my sideboarding. And what I typically run is, so I'll add 2 non-attacks. On average, I'll typically run anywhere between a 28-32 or 29-31 attack non-attack ratio. The higher number is always non-attacks most of the time. So 32 non-attacks, 28 attacks, or 31 non-attacks and 29 attacks is typically what I will run. And the idea there is, the hero ability on Briar says you need to play 2 non-attacks. So typically your best hand looks like non-attack, attack, blue card, right? That's like your bread and butter play, right? When you're on the offense anyway. And so how does that help us? How do these cards help us against Lost in Thought? Well, the answer to that is we actually get to manipulate these statistics, basically, or the ratios within our deck, right? So let's say we go to a 31 attack, 29 non-attack ratio. Well, we have to understand, what is that going to do to the deck, right? Well, we're going to make a lot less embodiments of lightning, right? That's first thing, because we don't have the non-attack density to play 2 within 1 turn most turns, right? So how are we getting go again, right? If that's not the case, because the whole thing that we're trying to stop is we don't want our only attack snatched from our hand, right? And like I said, you don't want to overreact to this. I'm only changing things by like 1 or 2 cards, maybe 3 tops. I'm just adding 2 to 3 more attacks per game into Dromine, right? I don't want to just way overshoot it, right? And so what this is going to do is, if we draw multiple attacks, these cards gain equity because they can still be played in most cases, right? Obviously, like I said, this is very rarely activated, but this doesn't happen very often. But once again, we're just increasing those odds, is what we're doing. And then Nimble Strike is just a nice source of go again. We have a high enough blue count to support. I do run the same effective number of blues as Yuanji is running, the 21. 21's my sweet spot too, mainly for Icelander. And also, what playing this style of deck has done is actually allowed me to leverage diplomacy in my own list because one, it's a 0 cost blue non-attack 3 block or a 4 block in our deck, right? So like there's no opportunity cost really paid. The only thing that would like this could be like a blue captain's call, it could be another earth card, or it could be I guess if like Sift is your thing, it could be that. So there's not really a whole lot of opportunity cost paid by having this. And plus, it's just in the sideboard to come in against decks that kind of really don't like it. And it's the extra blues for Icelander, right? So that's where my thought process is. And against the Rangers, we actually put it in instead of I forget the sideboarding exactly, but we take out the Sonatas because the sinks go in and we add, so we leverage it against them because we are built in a way to where we can handle it, right? We can be under that effect and still produce anywhere between 8 and 12 damage, whereas we can just steal tempo from them if they're not running Trench or they've already used their Snapdragons. So that's kind of the idea there. Then we have the defensive package, and we have like a lightning press on the side just for situational stuff. So one thing that I'm not 100% sold on is this AB package. Okay, so currently I'll explain to the chat where my thought process is on the AB situation. Against Icelander, the most effective thing that I've came up with is AB3, the head and the chest, and then run Shock Charmers. And what this allows you to do is the first red or yellow Aether Ice Vein, you actually get away from it with the Shock Charmers. So you just hold it. You don't save it till the kill turn or anything like that. The first time they present an Ice Vein that has like and it's a good enough hand to where like the on hit is actually impactful, then you give them the Shock Charmers. You pitch the blue for AB3 and then Spell Void 2 for a total of 5, which covers it all up, so you no longer have to discard or pay 2, right? Is that worth a sideboard slot? That's the question that I have not been able to answer yet. I'm still testing that. Crown of Seeds is more for Azuri than anything. I just run Tunic and Crown into Azuri, and I basically just sit on the Tunic counter, and then I start playing things in Arsenal because I'm not scared of whatever they play. They flash in a CNC. I just Tunic counter Crown and go at it, right? So those two cards need the most justification in the list, I would say, and then I might cut one of these sigils, or kind of the 3 cards that I'm eyeing the most, if I'm being honest. Those are the cards. So that's currently what I'm looking at. A lot can change between now and Chicago. I know a lot of people might be thinking, why is Flex not in here? I think Flex is I don't have anything against Flex. And Flex also kind of technically does answer the Warmonger's situation a little bit because you have the ability to pay one of your non-attacks into it to buff it. The only problem is it doesn't really fix it, right? Go Again is the only thing that truly fixes it, right? Because sure, you're able to do 6 damage instead of 4, right? But that's not that much better. Like, I would rather Seek Horizon, ditch the card I can't do anything with anyway, and then play another 0 for 4 and get 8 value out of that turn, whereas it would have just been 4. um, other than that, nothing else. Like I have the one of Lightning Press. Might add a second. It's possible. To just simply for the fact that we're trying to increase the odds of this fuse, because it comes up more often than you would think. Because the relationship between these two cards is actually phenomenal, because you never play this the turn that you draw it most of the time. Usually it always goes into Arsenal, and that way you can guarantee secure the go again. Sometimes you get an embodiment and you can like play it out or whatever, but more often than not, it does end up going into the Arsenal. So being able to fuse with this card and still send an attack with go again, it's great. It's like a match made in heaven. And then you also got mind games if you fuse it with the Lightning Press, right? Best play I've ever made. Entwine Lightning, fuse with Lightning Press, then play a Snatch, and then ask your opponent what they want to do. Because they're like, screwed if they do, screwed if they don't, right? Sometimes giving that information up front can actually be beneficial in some way. It is possible. All right, so we are going to go ahead and just jam some games. Do we have any questions from anybody in chat? I'd be more than happy to answer. More than happy. Actually, let's see if we're missing anything before we go into the games. Just I'm going to go over like what I'm doing to fact check, right? Fact check myself basically. The one thing I think the list is missing is we need 2 more non-attacks. Maybe 1. So we can main deck this because it's a blue block 4. It's not really the worst. And then we can run. Another reason why press is so good is against Icelander. And also press is great when you get Warmongered, right? You can always just add the damage. It doesn't stop you from playing. It doesn't stop you from playing it or anything like that. So I'm just really. I know on the surface it may seem like I'm really panicking about this card, and I promise you I'm not. I think I've evaluated it correctly, and I'm just trying to minimize its impact, right? And I do think it'll be overplayed this weekend, specifically, for better or for worse, right? I think people saw how good that card did in Chicago, and so I think more people will be playing this than they should. And therefore, I have to construct my deck in a manner to where I can play around it as well as I can, right? Cards. We got Fang in the chat. Michael Fang, good to see you, boss. What do you feel about sigils in the Briar Mirror or versus Vis? That's actually a very good question. Very good question. Because me personally, because the way those matches go, tempo is everything in those matchups, right? But also you have kind of like this embodiment management. So we'll talk about the mirror first, right? You have the mirror match where you're playing this embodiment management, but you still need to be aggressive. And like Sigil is great because they're never pitching for it, right? It's value wise, it's a 1 card 5. It that's amazing, right? No denying that because nobody's pitching into that. Where the problem lies from my testing is the Briar matchup can be very swingy where both players are very aggressively trying to acquire tempo, but the other player is not giving it up, right? So you're basically just punching each other in the face for a short period of time, whether it be over 2 or 3 turn cycles. Not necessarily throughout the entire game. there could just be a phase during the game where it's just haymakers, right? Like I'm doing my red earth lore, rabble, Rosetta, efficient 3 card or whatever, and then like you can get to these points where you draw the D react, and then you're forced to concede tempo. And because it's not a non-attack, right? It doesn't help you in any way to produce said go again. And so me personally, I know everybody's seen the flashy plays where they end the game on a sigil, and it's and it's a super valuable card at being a 1 for 5 99% of the time. But I do not like just giving up. I mean, you play a Channel Mount Heroic and you draw this card and you just die on this inside of just a little bit, right? It just doesn't feel great. It feels very, very bad. And so, Michael, to sum it up, in the mirror match, I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. Now, if Viscerai is a little different, right? Because the way the Viscerai match breaks down is you're both engaging in this mid-range game plan kind of until Viscerai gets his cash in. And then he's just, dropping the gloves, basically, right? I take it back. And in the Viscerai matchup, he's trying to race. He's just like, I'm going to present the most damage I can out of my hand, and then any extra cards I'll block with those, right? Viscerai does care about meeps because you'll steal his fucking gold, right? Viscerai is the hero that cares about meeps more than any other hero. I will tell you that much. The problem is he's also the hero with a shit ton of armor, right? So your meeps has got to like really have some throughput on it, whether it be Bramble Spark or Thor Surge, whatever the case may be. And if you draw it after the gold's been, meeps do not steal gold. Oh, then he doesn't give a shit. You're right. Does it really not? Don't say it ain't so. An item. Yeah, it's not an item. Is it? I don't think there's tokens on here, is there? There's not. It's an item. Okay. I'll take your guys' word for it. It does not take the gold. Non-token. That's the key. Okay. Yeah. So he does not care about it. Good thing it's not in my list. So it says less than 2 cost, but the non-token is the key part. Yep. Okay. So like I was saying, Viscerai. Viscerai is trying to race, blocking with excess cards, trying to make the match as short as possible to make sure Briar does not have the chance to leverage the value associated with Channel Mount Heroic. So while Sigil does kind of play in to that plan, right? Because you can, you're actively making sure that you are blocking the mauve triggers and stuff like that, and you're actively trying to get to channel as quickly as possible at the highest life total possible, so you can take all their damage, jam the armor on the mauve trigger, and then as Judge chat earlier, meeps can't take gold or silver or copper because they have no cost. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't say token, but that does make sense that it doesn't have a cost. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Makes perfect sense. Thank you, Justin, for that clarification. So, end result against Viscera, I think it's a lot better than the Briar Mirror because you only are trying to steal tempo when you have Channel Mount Heroic. The only problem is, once again, if you play the Channel Mount Heroic and you draw it, then you're not able to leverage the value. It's just it's very tricky. And me personally, if I ever am in a matchup where I really need to leverage the value on this card, I will typically not. I will not run Sigil because also let's take it one step further, Michael. If you put Sigil in, what do you have to take out? We got to take out Sonata, right? Because our ratios are all to shit and back, right? And we just ruined our 86% chance of success. Probably knocked it all the way down to 70 or whatever by putting in 3 sigils. And so we don't have Sonata anymore, which is a basically turn extender, which is exactly what we need to be doing against Viscera. We need to against Viscera. It's what's the cheapest way that I can effectively swing Rosetta Thorn while blocking the most damage, and that's all that matchup is about. And then once you get Channel Mount Heroic, you jam the armor on the on hits, and then jam it. So it is better against Viscera, but it still doesn't make the cut for me. I think the value on Sonata is just a little bit better there because, I guess there's a valid argument. I'd have to sit down and do the math on it, but theoretically, when you Sonata, let's say, because the matchup is about getting to Channel Mount Heroic, if we're being honest. When you Sonata, it's very important that you are mindful of the amount of cards you pitch because from a statistic standpoint, let's say you're on turn 4 and you've pitched 4 cards. When you play Sonata, you're technically possibly putting 4 cards between. You're putting 4 cards back into the ratio that you knew were not between you and Channel Mount Heroic, but now they could be. So that's a very important thing to understand. I'd have to sit down and do the math on it and kind of figure out whether that's worth justifying. Because I guess in that matchup, I'd probably rather have Sync to get to the mountain quicker. I think that might be actually probably higher EV. If I was taking that approach of I don't want to put more cards between me and Channel Mount Heroic, I'd probably take these out in lieu of Sync Below to speed it up and not put more cards in random order into the deck. So that's my thought process on D-React. I don't like D-Reacts in a matchup where I need to be aggressive and I'm on a clock. These are for mainly Bravo and Lexi. That is mainly what the cards are for. Those ones. So let's go ahead and I need to add a card. I'm at 69. We'll throw another press. Why not? Unless there's anything else that's really... No, we'll just throw another press. Why not? Okay, we'll go ahead and queue up some games. Just chat. Like I said, anybody got any more questions, just let me know. More than happy to answer. Did I miss anybody else? Sorry, Michael, it took forever to answer your question. It's kind of long-winded there. Tall Timmy said, thoughts on a cheeky 1 or 2 of Overload? Might be worth considering if you're aggressive build. I'm also a big fan of Amulet of Earth. So those are great points. Absolutely. Overload, I think there's a little too much armor in the format. I typically love that card. The only problem is I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure on it because of the armor. As far what was the other card? Amulet of Earth. It doesn't block. That's like this is an exception because it's combating a strategy that I really want to beat, and that's why I'm trying to do that. So here I think we're actually okay to put in some CNCs there. We'll keep them always looking for the third, and we'll go with that. What's the biggest exude you've ever seen? What else we got? Yep, then we had the Meeps fiasco in chat. What else? Bro, thank you for attacking my man, bro. We are unfortunately going to leak one here. We don't know what's coming in the back like this. I'm okay with the odds of drawing another attack. There's an argument to block like this just to guarantee. We are at a slight ratio mishap because we technically drew 3 attacks. So our ratio is, well, we have 29. So we started at a -2. So we're at a -4. So there is validity in taking this 1 damage to secure this. And I think I actually will, just to guarantee it. Yep, and we did a good job here. We prevented what could have been a very ugly situation. We drew in another attack, but it definitely was not the one that we want. I think the standard rotation here is we whiff there, and then we just go ahead and jam the... See, that was expected because we have a lot more non-attacks, right? And then we're going to jam this, which he can't D-react to, which is definitely ideal, and then we'll close it with a Rosetta Thorn. Unfortunately, that's not a miss, but we kind of expected it. But that's where, like, knowing the ratios and taking 1 damage on when I knew he had nothing after it on turn 0 on the surface seems bad, but man, it turned this turn into a 13 damage turn versus what, like maybe 8, maybe. Just playing Briar for as long as I have, like, though, that's where you get your value, is making decisions like that. I don't always do those things, but it's very important. So this card right here is very important, especially when we notice that the list is more aggressive with the rabble. There's a very good chance that this list could be running Flicker Trick. So what we're going to do is either we're going to play it on the Snatch, or we're going to sit on it for as long as possible. And what that's going to allow us to do is just basically blow out any Flicker Trick, right? That's what it's going to give us the ability to do. So this one is interesting, right? Knee-jerk reaction is to block it with the 4 block. We have a couple options to play the Force of Nature. And then we have, we can snatch, snap, press it, draw 2. It's kind of telegraphed from the Force of Nature, though, is my only qualm with that strategy. But it does allow us to go ahead and jam this Scar for Scar, right? And actually, I guess one way that we could hide it, I'm trying to think of a way, because if we play this, if we take this, play this Scar, that looks sus as shit. But he might think that we're trying to Rosetta Thorn. But then we play the Snatch, and then it really looks sus as shit. Like, that's why I don't really see... It's kind of tough. I don't want that Yindarai there for too long. I think we actually should have popped it, if I'm being honest. I think we should have popped it. I think we should have dropped one of the attacks and popped it. But, you know, hindsight. So I think here we are just going to block here. Definitely should have popped that Yindra. I'm okay with burning snaps here. We have enough go again kind of built into the deck that I'm not particularly worried about it. I'm going to let him decide whether he wants to sink first before I show it. Do you have another one, good sir? He does. We definitely should have popped this Yundra. Definitely should have popped it. Slightly inefficient on my end. 100% we should have popped it. But we're making these mistakes here, so we don't make them in Chicago. See? I told you guys. 16.5% chance, but man, it happens. Man, it happens. This one's pretty straightforward. We're definitely not going to give the draw here. And see, if he lost and thought us, bro, that would actually be kind of funny. So we have a couple options here. We're slightly behind based on board state. This Yundaraz kind of got him slightly ahead. What we're going to do is we're going to fuse this, and we're really going to need it to hit. Because if it hits, what we can do is play the swarming. And I'll have go again from the embodiment, then we can just tune it counter into the Kyloria. But if it's blocked like this, then unfortunately we just have to pitch the swarming to go into the Kyloria. There's no real risk to... We could throw it at him, but if it doesn't hit, then we don't gain go again and we get attacked again, and we can't have that. So we're just going to pitch this setup for next turn. Just kind of try and maintain the board state as much as we possibly can. That is the goal. Okay, so we're going to Arsenal here for sure. We have tunic counter, so we're looking to get like a cheap nimbleism. This tunic counter swing. We have a rabble here. Okay. Hand is pretty bad. He revealed a sand cover, right? Okay, that's good. Good thing to note. I really want to jam this out, but we could try and gamble a little bit. I don't like giving up the armor this early. Because the hand's so close to being great. This was an Earth card. Maybe that's a deck building mistake. Maybe I respect Ninja too much, but it's also so good in the Lexi. In my strategy, it's good in the Lexi. God, it's the most depressing Bramble Spark ever, but I think I guess it doesn't have... There's no reason to block here then, because we don't have an embodiment, so we're not losing value. We can always... He's going to attack with Yin. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. His Ash economy is really good, which is really bad for us. I thought I had embodiment for some reasons. That's why I wanted to block the rabble so bad, was because it was coming for 4, but realized I didn't have the embodiment, so it didn't matter. There's no reason to block there. For what could have came, right? Snatch, dust up, whatever the case may be. Michael, will you be in Chicago? I've been 11 for 12 on Rabbles today, hitting blues. So there's a very good chance there's a blue sitting on top with my name on it. Oh, we got one, chat. With no nimblism in the grave. Sag. The D reacts on this man. I've never seen so many in my life. Let go again. The whole reason we played the Bramble for one unfortunate damage is it gives us 2 on the back end when we tune it counter into Chromine. And we're not worried about giving him the Ash generation from the AB because he's already sitting on 2, so it's not a real big deal. It's one thing I've been bad about lately is giving Dromai the opportunity to AB when they're low in Ash. And the lovely folks in the Discord have been so kind to remind me how that's not the correct way to do it. So Chroma is gone. We set up our exact same arsenal and we hope for a big turn. This is once again. This is actually okay because I wasn't ready to play it anyway. I don't have a nimblism, so we dodged that bullet pretty good. And the only thing that we can effectively do, we don't know what he has after, and that's the problem here. And we have a ponder, so we. I guess at worst. See, I want to save this for like a dust up or something. So we knew this. He had this. We knew that. We don't know what this is. And he took the 4 on that. So unlikely it's a D-Rag. Possible, but unlikely. We're running out of time to find our Channel Heroic, which is kind of our win con at this point. So we're not going to play a Sonata if we do find one because we've pitched too many cards. And I think we have to wait and see what he has behind here to hopefully block with this. If not, in a tough situation, there is a world where we could kind of... Okay, we don't hate that. So the alternative to not waste the card is we turn this into an embodiment. So we're going to pitch this and kind of set up the next turn. He's played a Chroma and a Kyloria, so I'm not super for getting rid of this. I think the damage is more important. And then because we have a ponder, we're going to draw. This card has no real value here in this situation, so we're going to play it to maintain the embodiment of lightning. We're just going to swing Rosetta at her. We are definitely behind here, make no mistake about it, but once we get to channel, we just have to leverage it as much as we can, which we've been drawing a lot of non-attacks, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, let's see here. We got a Yinder. Okay. Is this a crown moment? It's not a bad bro, it does one thing, bro. What's the biggest Entwined Lightning you've ever seen? We can't unfortunately conveniently take out the Azraeli. If we play the Sonata and we get an attack on it, we can do that and then nimble into this because we'll make another embodiment and then we can pitch the other nimble to go 2 and 2. And an Arsenal nimble? We've drawn a lot of non-attacks. I don't hate that play. And it gets 1 nimble and we get to shuffle the nimble strike. I kind of like that. I get on board with that. We are definitely behind, though, for sure. What's up, Ravi? Michael will be there. Well, hopefully we can get a game in, and it will it won't end in a horrific brick like last time. Oh, we whiffed on 2 Sonatas, and the channel was on top waiting for us. Well, chat, this one's not looking great. So we got to play one. So completely whiffed on 2 Sonatas. This is the event, DM Armada. That's right. That's right. This is it. This hand does play Nimbleism. It's missing Autumn Touch, though, Damien. Isn't that right? We're going to try. We're going to try to force Briar out, but not that I want her to leave. I think she's done good enough for long enough. Put it that way. Very poor turn there. Whiffed on both the Sonatas, and this Yindara stuck around for way too long because I made the misplay of not popping it at the beginning and also burning snaps for no real reason. Didn't really get any benefit from it there. So once again, my fault there, 100%. We'll have tunic counter. So this is going to be, I think we are, we're forced to pop here. We have no choice. We have to mitigate the damage. We haven't seen one of our 2 CNCs, so that'd be kind of clutch. No channel mount heroics. Our attack ratio is pretty abysmal, to be honest. We have this to bail us out. I feel like Oasis Respite. Where is it at? Where is the Oasis? Play it. Play the Oasis. Oh, I didn't pitch. Let's get that tunic counter. That was the whole point, right? Two and two. All right, we found it with no pitch to play it. That is okay, though. That is okay. There is a world where we try to get a little greedy. I'm not sure we're at that point, though. God, he's got so much ash. He's got 2 Yindaras, so... So we're basic. Our only out is to like defensively channel my heroic. So we have to here. Like actually. Which means we literally just have to sink the East. Our only chance to win is we have to sink the East Strike and get a Earth Plume. And then we can Bramble, channel my heroic. Now, we obviously can't do anything after that, which is super unfortunate. But at least we'll drive as much tempo as we possibly can while also setting ourselves up to pop on the next turn is our only out. Because this is our last chance to play this card, and it's our only win con. We're that far behind. So we have to sink the East Strike, unfortunately. I would love to Bramble, East Strike, do something like that. But I think we have to get ahead here. And we missed. I think go again with E-Strike. Weapon passing feels fine too. Your life isn't too low. I mean, there's 2 Yindarais, right? Like, I'm automatically going down to what, 6 here? Right? There's still a line to try and keep channel, right? The only line is pitch bramble to play this rounds and try and draw it, but that's a stretch. Where's the meeps at? Unfortunately, there's like the only line is to play this out and give the snatch go again, because other than that, we're only presenting what at max 7 and 2 arcane by pitching this. So unfortunately, we have to ditch the channel. We don't have any other way. Not an ideal situation, but there it is. That would have worked, Damien. I would have drawn an Earth Blue. That is a fact. But I don't know. I just don't think there's a way out here. I mean, obviously we're gonna do this. If we swing into passing, we draw CNC. We have 2 CNCs in the deck, so that's probably the only out. We'll just get rid of passing here as an emergency stop. A little Hail Mary, and we didn't get it. Still have the 4 block. We have to take this 2 because we need to be good for the dust up or whatever could come. Yeah, we're 100% out now. Our only out is draw CNC and an Earth Blue to play channel to get the popper back. Is basically it. I kept my life total as high as humanly possible just to be safe from arcane for as long as possible, because we're kind of in that area where burn them all puts me on a clock, and we don't want him to do that. There's 1 in the grave, but I've seen a lot of list run 2. I think 2 is pretty standard, actually. Sink below. Not. In this situation, I don't think there's any reason to. This block's 4, and he could have something at the end of a chain, so I'm going to arsenal the swarming. We still don't get the CNC, so we drew 40 cards and neither CNC. Unfortunate. Yep, that gets it. That gets it. GG. Whiffing on the 2 Sonatas hurt a little too much, and I did make that misplay 100% in that Yindarai. I would have taken, what, 12 less damage from that Yindarai? Because I would have popped it, the very first one that came down with the lightning press. That was 100% my fault. Should have saw that. Should have saw that. Play Bramble, play CMH, snatch, hit, draw, Earth. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, if I would have known that the top card was Earth. Because I feel like I still needed to present something toward Droma. Because then she's just going to build the board state up right back. Here's Prism, not the most entertaining game. I don't understand playing the high roll, drawing an Earth Blue, but pitching the CMH, not Bramble. If you miss, it's better to have played the Bramble. Hang on one second. Let me do the sideboarding. These are coming in 100%. These are coming in. Okay, now what were we saying? You're saying I don't understand the high roll, drawing an Earth Blue. Yep, when I did the this round's on me, and I pitched the CMH. Yep. Because if I play the Bramble, I'm presenting the Snatch on hit with Go Again and the draw. And no matter what, I can reset it, right? Whereas if I play the CMH, that is not going to stick around, pitching the this round's on me, and then the Bramble Spark, of course. I make the embodiment. I play the Snatch. I have no floating. All right, so I can't Rosetta Thorn the passing, or can't Rosetta Thorn anything, right? Sure, that's pretty good stuff right here. Only AB1, so it should be pretty easy to trigger that ward if we really need to. That was a pretty good open. Holy shit. Okay. She has no soul though, so this is irrelevant, and this is irrelevant. Yep. So no effects there because no soul yet. I mean, she could always add to it, but once you commit to play this round, you're trying to Hail Mary, right? So good. I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right, right? We're definitely playing CMH, obviously. I'm just thinking about very low chance that we get equity from this card in the future because she starts 8 below and she's not taking any damage because of ward, and we'll probably not take that much damage on the clap back because we have everything as a popper. So I'm actually in favor of throwing the Scar here and then just to get cards out of hand, and then we'll Arsenal Snatch for the big turn. That's a good one to see going in the bin. Yep, so one of the angels soak it up. I guess he gets to pick. Okay, that's the one I would prefer, I think. I mean, that's life game, but I'll block it, sure. Sure. This does not have Phantasm. Yep. But it does have life gain, which is pretty cheeky. We don't need 2 of these. Let's rid of one, and maybe we can work in a non-attack to give this draw. That'd be kind of hot. The Alabama Smarts. Roll Tide, right? No. Okay, we have some sequencing here that's kind of important, right? We want the snatch to be as much of a surprise as we possibly can. And so just like my knee-jerk reaction, we need to take as much advantage of this to clear the angel and deal as much damage as we possibly can as quickly as possible. So I'm taking E-Strike draw, or yeah, E-Strike draw a card, snap. Depending on what that card is, we can seek Horizon. If it's a non-attack, then we can play the non-attack, snatch, then seek Horizon. If it's another attack, we can just seek Horizon, sink it, and then go into the snatch. So I like that. Let's go and burn these snaps real quick. Send it to her, of course. We'll go and elect to. We take those. Well, chat, we got bamboozled. Okay, so if that's the case, what is the highest priority to keep? We have not played a non-attack, right? We just led with the E-Strike. And he did get snaps from the ALS. That's pretty cheeky there. I'll give him that. This has the easiest onto it. So I think the worst card in the hand is actually Seek Horizon. So we're just going to swing Rosetta Thorn. Okay. Zachary, that was not 22 damage. We got shut down. Oh, we got shut down hard, bro. We got by the old ALS. The old ALS. Okay, so we obviously don't want the Figment to trigger. That's a given. I think this is fine. Just nimble into the snatch, and we'll play the rest of the game from there. Put this bad boy in Arsenal. Just yeah. So the hand had very good balance that I didn't think it was worth pushing the one. I could have very well pitched the two for grasp, and that I did see that, but I thought that the hand had good balance. Bro, this shit's actually getting annoying. Shit is actually getting annoying. Okay. This prism can get fucked. Play that shit. Do it now. All right, prism. This is where you die. You value the guaranteed non-attack plus attack at one value? Yeah. Yeah. Not always. Not always. Got double stuffed. Got double. This could be a little bit arcane damage, but we don't give any shits because this is hidden. Boy, is this hidden. Okay, we just let this resolve, and we're gonna draw the entwine. Oh, I was gonna say we're gonna draw the entwine lightning, but we didn't. So our priority, we're obviously gonna take care of one of them. I'm just let's see whenever an aura attack actually controls destroy, deal 1 damage. If it's if it's a light, it goes into So the correct order here, I believe, would be haze bending, then merciful. So that way it only gets 1 spectral and not 2. Because it will not go into soul because it's not light. I think that'd be the correct order there. We got double stuffed. Double stuffed. Yeah, you got it. Hot take. I don't think you have to respect most of the auras if you're Briar. Yeah? I kind of agree with it. Not having a blue here feels so bad. This is actually my first time playing on the other side of this matchup. I'm stuck in my old prison ways. No reason to push that. We'll just jam this. Sure. Not the highest EV thing, but like, what can you do? What can... Now, if this was another Earth Red, like, I'd be cool with it, but... This one got shut down. We did get 4 pumps off of this, so good value. That snaps on that one really did hurt. Shit really hurt. Okay, this is really good. We'll get the draw. We'll pump. We'll fuse, pump, play. Guarantee draw. Should close the game out. I think I'll let him get the figment because he's never going to get a chance to pay the 2 because he doesn't have the chess piece to make it free. This is where I wish I knew what all the figments did right now. But I don't think there's anything that really hard punishes here. So I'm going to let him get his figments. This hand's just too good to give up. Indiso, get your figment. Which one we getting? That's a pretty good one. All right, so we're gonna go here and we're gonna fuse, like we said, and then we're going to pump it. Everything looks normal as day. Oh, please don't ALS here, bro. Oh my god. No shot. Ugh. At least we could keep the... Okay. That's actually brutal, bro. He gets the draw when he awakens. Oh, wait, he won't have the 2 to be able to pay to attack. So he'll be able to awaken it, but not attack. So brutal, bro. These ALSs have been hitting. I shouldn't have went for that haze bending. I should just left that shit. Good point, Zachary. Great point. Oh, he's trying to loot me, guys. He's trying to loot me. When this enters the arena. You may put a yellow action card. So it's the attack that lets him put ALS. So does it tell me? Oh, he put erudition on there. Okay, so we have the armor to stop that. So we're Gucci. He has no more ALS. So we just play this. We already have the embodiment of lightning. Give this go again. We pump it and swing. Okay, good. These ALSs have been actual gas. He's played 3. Why are there only 2? Did one go to Soul? Okay. Oh, we can't loop with Merciful out. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Sucks to suck. No. There's no reason not to pump here. Okay. Oh, he's using it for the ward. Okay, that makes sense. Like a pseudo D-react. I like it. I can dig it. Iris does not interact with the Figment. So we can only swing for 4 there. Boy! Boy! We can actually CNC on the end as well, depending on the situation. We can go here, into here, into here, or sword swing. We got options. We got options. Sure. Okay, this changes things. Okay, so we grab the ALS. Which he obviously will play. But okay, so we need, okay, and he won't have tunic counters. So we need to keep the blue so that if his pitch is wonky and he plays the ALS, then we can make a rune chant and still trigger the rebirth from happening. So, or trigger the ward on the rebirth. So that's kind of what we're going for. So we're going to block here. No reason to give armor. I think we're safe from that range. Right, because there's no on-hit effect. So, and we'll see what he draws. Because he has priority on the... So he'll lay it down here if he has it. I mean, technically he had priority. We already had Nimblism in the bin. I guess because he gave us priority there, we should have led with the Nimble Strike. I didn't think about that per se. So he did draw the double blue. So therefore we are just going to force the card out of his hand so he can't attack the next turn. Is what we get here at a minimum, unless he wants to let us trigger this ward. Because thank God to the rewrite on. Okay, so we're out of the loop. See, chat? This is why we're building the deck this way. This is it. Okay, 5 go again, and then we'll just go ahead and sling this to lay this down. If we had Tunic counter, we would definitely pitch the Snatch and take Tunic to add the damage for sure. This does request either both cards or one card in Tunic, which means he's only going to be able to present 4 damage back. I think worst case scenario, and then we'll kill him with Rosetta Thorn on the or not. Oh, this is. There's the discipline move, and then there's not the discipline move, chat. I mean, chat, we're gamers, right? Like, do we take Tunic counter, pitch 2 of these red attacks, and tome? Do we, chat? Are we? We're gamers, right? I'm gonna do it because I don't know. I do not think this is the optimal line. I'm gonna lead with that notion. I think the optimum line is definitely to pitch tome to make a rune or to make a rune chant, and then you go 4/4. I think that is that is like definitely the optimum line. However, chat, we're gamers here. So yeah, no, Alex, you're 100% correct. The line is make a rune chant 2 4s. That is the correct line. But we're gonna be gamers because we don't miss unless it's Sonata against Dromine. And we're gonna play this tome. We're gonna give up this in one of the snatches, and we're just gonna draw it. See, chat, we just drew it. Okay, so we definitely played this one over this one. We go here. Fuse. Gives us our embodiment. We did it, chat. All right. Kind of worked out. We just did it for the lulz, right? Like, once again, do not recommend that line in a serious tournament, but you know, we're here for a good time, not necessarily a long time, right? Never punish. Wish I could be so lucky. Bro, did you see the last game where I whipped on both Sonatas? Positive EV strats. Oh, we got us a Levia. Let's go. But I mean, he's on Levia. What's the worst that could happen, right? This does nothing. I think we're just trying to be as aggressive as possible with a little element of spread. There is an argument to play the CNC instead. We'll swap one of those. Might mess up a Blood Rush Bellow or 2 kind of idea. Okay. We got a couple options here. They presented no AB, so we might as well get a Rosetta swing in. So this is the line that I typically like to take. I like to make a rune chant, right, with one of my cards. And then I'll swing the swarming. I'll demand a block here. And what that'll do, then I'll play the this rounds, which will 1, create an embodiment of lightning, but 2, it'll just refill his hand and he doesn't get a 5-card hand, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to execute here. So I'm gonna play this, which will once again, it's a never punished. Never. So we got arcane damage in. He doesn't have a 5-card hand. Everything is -1 on her turn, and we have the best arsenal target in our deck. All off of 3 blues, chat. All off of 3 blues. Holy shit. Well, this is a hand. See, chat, I love this hand, But I'm telling you, this is actually one of the toughest hands to play in a deck like Briar, because it's like, do you take the security of the E-Strike, or do you play the Sonata? Because if you play the Sonata and you whiff, your E-Strike is invalid, and then you waste the embodiment. And that super feels bad, right? But if you hit, then it's huge, because then you E-Strike, draw a card, and then like lightning. I mean, we're just going to hit. Right, chat? We did the stupid tone play. It paid off. We're going to hit this one too. Don't have any math behind it other than there's typically about an 80. Well, I have one press in here, so my odds is like 82%. That's right, chat. We're gamers. God, I'll play this hand so wrong. Yeah, it's effective. Oh, quick it. No shot. No shot. Yeah, we'll send the surge up front. I dig it, chat. I dig it, chat. Also, it kind of hides a little bit of information. I don't hate it. Oh, we got damage in. Maybe. Moment of truth, chat. Even though it's not, because we're gamers, right? We're hitting this. I want a red snatch. Thank you. Gamers only, chat. Gamers only. Do we do draw a card here? I kind of like setting up the E-Strike. Because I asked for the red snatch for a reason. We go 7, go again. We probably just get a card in the armor, though, is the problem. We could go E-Strike, draw a card. Like I said, always looking. The key is to say out loud. You know, chat, this is actually a tough one. So, since the E-Strike off the back end, the draw card, I guess at worst it could be a Rosetta swing if it's not something kind of arsenal worthy. So I think we have to, because just the snatch is too easily blocked. So I think we actually do the draw card anyway. Yeah, I agree, Michael. Yeah, the E-Strike. And then here, like, if this gets intimidated, we're perfectly okay. And in fact, because we're on channel counter 2 next turn, I'm actually going to bank this Sonata 1 for tome protection if we draw one of the other tomes, kind of get an out to get more attacks. And then also we can double Earth Blue. That's always pretty good. So I'm actually going to favor. I know this is worth 4 value right now, but I think I'm anticipating next turn it could be worth a lot more, because it could be go again and an attack. So I'm going to pass and just stick. I know it's tempting. I know, but we got to hang on to it. Got to hang on to it. Oh, chat. The game's easy when you just do this. The game's easy. Okay, so the actual decision point is, do we block with Crown of Providence to get away from the CNC to really maximize this turn? because we're one non-attack from this being like super explosive. And we can't really play it unless we get a Blue Autumn's Touch. I think it's worth it, chat. I think we have to. I mean, I'm going to wait and see if there's like an on-hit. But I think crowning away the CNC is the correct thing to do. Unless he just presents a CNC of his own, and then we'll block with it. The CNC is just not really doing what we need it to do. I like this, Pat. Dread Screamer, then the Scabby roll. I love it. With the 3. He has go again 2 cards, so we're definitely going to see something else. He rolled Scabs for a reason. Okay, so this is it. We don't really need to block for the go again. And so, okay, so since they're off in Arsenal, we 100% ditch the CNC. No questions asked. Okay. Problem number 1 solved. All right, chat. I did talk Seek Horizon in the deck before I started playing games. So if you want to get it basically sums up to Warmongers and Lost in Thought. Kind of plays around those because I can run a higher attack density, if you will. So we're gonna stay on theme because I guess when you're hot, you're hot. You know, we're gonna do exactly what Alex put in the chat. I mean, because we're gamers, right? Chat, we're gaming here. We're can't stop, won't stop. Zach, you're correct. All right. But actually, is x equals 2? I mean, yeah, x has to equal 2, right? Yeah, we're fucking gamers. Like, okay. So the second one was for nothing. But that's okay. Because guess what, chat? This got go again. We got the go agains. We obviously got to play that one up front. I would make a rune chant to start. If you don't Sonata first, you really don't want to have Autumn's intimidated. Yeah, so what we're going to do... We got punished, chat. We're not gamers right now. We're not gamers. Oh, no. We should have listened to Michael. Oh, yeah. No, flashback was worth, yeah, quite the sum there. Actually, we're 6 there because I had the go again set up. So that was a healthy flashback for sure. Oh man. See, when in doubt, listen to Michael. We have to jam it here. We don't have any other choice. This does drop him. Unless he has a D-react, this does drop him below 12, so Blasphemet's not an option, which is kind of hot. Or it drops below 13, I'm sorry. We still have the fuse. That's kind of good. So we have a solid turn here. He's going to present some damage, though. So there's a very good possibility we're just blocking with this. Just draw another channel, no biggie. We did, but we're missing something. Basically not playing Arsenal until... Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point, Michael. So we need to wait for something else. He did pitch a reckless swing. That's very good to know. This is a very good turn. What's the worst this could be? The one cost 7 that would come in for 9. So we're at worst looking at 17. That's pretty hot. Jesus Christ, Pat. I just want to be a gamer. No, he gets the rabble. Okay, so 8. Go to 1. We do apply a decent amount of pressure. He only has 1 block. Kind of sketch, though, to be honest. This takes us to 1. We might as well stay at 2. I don't know if there's a huge difference with that. The reason we're getting rid of the rabble here is we're basically forced to do snaps here because we're not a life threshold to like utilize them later, and we need to go and get this snatch a going. And we don't necessarily know what the rabble is going to hit on top, whereas this is guaranteed damage. They should get a card in armor. So very important here. If this was any other 4 attack, I would have thrown it first, snapped, and then snatched. But we actually don't do that. I want to go back. I don't want to snap this. I want to actually Arsenal because there's no EV from actually. It's not letting me. Oh well, we're committed. We're committed. Definitely not optimal. Should have kept snaps and then just Arsenal D because this doesn't pressure anything. All this does is that if he whiffs on his banishes, which is impossible because he has exactly enough there, then he would die to blood debt theoretically, but I believe that's impossible. Doesn't have enough blood debt for redeem, so that's nice. So we're basically on blocking duty and hope she bricks, basically. I don't see any other particular... I mean, this is good blocking hand. Very good. And we can just play this. Also stops... well, it doesn't stop reckless, but yeah. Yowza. But he doesn't know. He doesn't know. I think we have... What am I thinking about, bro? He doesn't have AB. Jesus. Chat. Chat. Oh, that doesn't stop AB. That doesn't stop AB. No, it doesn't. He said, "Damn you, Levia." So redeemed wasn't there because he does not. I think you have to have for Levia redeemed. You have to have 13 either cards in the banish zone or blood debt. I guess it's right here. 13 or more cards with blood debt in your banish zone, and he was currently only sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4. So he wasn't anywhere close to redeemed. There. So we definitely played sloppy on the flesh bag. That mistakes were made there. We should have been disciplined like Michael. Yep. First step to winning a pro tour is not being a gamer. It is not being a gamer. Okay. So this is a very let's say this is a very relevant match, I like to call it. Extremely relevant. We're gonna run the AB3 into this. That way we kind of get equity both ways. We're gonna run these because they are at a higher value, and then we're gonna put in the blues, and we're gonna take out these, and we're gonna go. I thought I was taking out the Sonata. Okay, there we go. And we will go from there. And we're just trying to play a very slow, like methodical, Pat is dying in the other Discord. Oh, Pat's good people. Pat's good people. Pat, you got to go back on the Sonata. It was such a gamer moment. I was like, I'm going to draw this snatch. It resolved. I just looked at the cameras. It was hilarious. This is so risky, but we are forced to do it. If we get blown out on Channel Lake here, but we just have to. And we do not Nimblism here because then we give him another opportunity where the Frostbite just destroys the whole play. We just jam the 7 here, tell him to make his move, and we will gladly Arsenal Nimblism. We actually paid a very low opportunity cost in this transaction to get this channel out. Usually it's much more difficult. So quite fortunate in that regard. Curious of what he's going to do with that floating resource because he's not. Oh, okay. So maybe he just had a rough hand. Not sure. Deal 3. Freeze a card in Arsenal. Freeze a card in Arsenal. Oh, no. I don't need it. Yeah, because the reason that this is a much... So, it's just a Nimblism in Arsenal, so it's not any damage that's correlated with Channel Out Heroic, right? So, no value lost there. I have 1 blue to protect from whatever this is. Theoretically, the Arsenal card is not very disruptive because he didn't play it last turn. However, he could have just saved it. So we have to bank this card to make sure we get off at least a couple of these attacks. So we're going to just let him freeze the Arsenal. Freeze a card in Arsenal to start the next turn. Yep. Oh, it wasn't fused, was it? Oh, that's even. That is. I mean, do we play it? I don't think we play it regardless. Either way, I don't think. I think we just hold this for the disruption, and then we can swing a Rosetta Thorn or something after. Yeah. So let's just start. See what's happening. Yep. So thought process was right. We just Have to bank on the disruption being there, and that's okay. And that's another good reason why we didn't lead with the nimblism, because this would be the difference between playing one attack or two, right? Because this blue is going to be able to pay for this frostbite and one resource here, and then we'll be able to pay for this resource here. So we do not play the nimblism. So we're going to pitch this, which will give us one floating. We'll fuse with go again. We'll have just enough resources to play the surge. So we'll present a healthy 17. Should get us pretty far ahead. What we're really hoping for is he has at least one, a couple physical attacks, so we can really leverage the block on our equipment. Really hope so. But if you look at the past couple games, I mean, Entwined Lightning's just been performing. I know most Briar lists historically only run like a 1 of or a 2 of. But I don't know. It's just so convenient when you get that go again. It feels real nice. This is a hand. Huh. Well, we only have one play here. The only question... Oh, yes, channel out. Ugh. So if he gives us a frostbite, we're going to have to pitch the whole hand to draw 3. And if he has channeled the Bleak Expanse, he just wins the game. Like, good on him. If he runs channel Bleak Expanse, he deserves to win the game. But, I mean, this hand's not doing anything anyway, so there's not any real... I mean, I guess theoretically we could, like, Bramble, Fuse, and then play the Autumn's Touch. But he did pass, so that means we actually get to bank a Bramble. Not amazing here, but we'll make it work. So we just jam for 7. We just ripped 3 attacks, but then we saw 4 not. I haven't been counting this game because I've been trying to keep up with chat. Carapace is great. I think it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is the higher priority attack than this because the life is a gap, that's for sure. The question is, do I want to... We've seen a lot of Earth, a little bit. It's kind of good, though. He's probably going to block 7 here and not give embodiment. We'll keep the Bramble. We'll keep the Bramble. So this was effectively a 4-card 7, chat. It's about as effective as putting a dehumidifier out in the rain, but we'll take it. We'll take it. He is leaking the embodiment, which smart on him. That's what you're supposed to do. This was Fuse. We weren't playing that Arsenal card anyway. What did he fuse? Winter Bites. We need to be able to pay through that next turn. So we will not. Awful value. That's a fact. That's a fact. Waning Moon. We're not stopping that either. All right. We have been, what, 11 out of 14 today have been blue. Let's see if we can hit a red this time. Let's see. Actually, this is wrong. Oh, I can't go back now. Oh well. I was fixed to say maybe I should lead with the exude, but it's no big deal. Because I do plan on using snaps here. So I should have went exude and then yep, another blue. So at least we're staying with the trend. I'm going to go ahead and play the snatch out because if this gets blocked, I'm not entirely sure about using that. I mean, I feel like we have to actually get value from the hand because we force him to take 4 damage, which stops a peak if he doesn't want to stop the 4. And he's currently letting us draw, so we definitely have to snap here. And we draw the blue, which we can throw into it. This is much better value than last turn. Bro, the blues on Ravels. It's like my trademark. Okay. Let's do this and see what he does. Let's show Earth or Surge. Brain freeze here like hurts bad. This not so much. We obviously have the way. Okay, so in this situation, our number one priority is to force the hand to make him pay an opportunity cost to keep this channel. So if there's any way we can execute this force onto the swarming, we do it. So if we play this, it costs 2. So we'll have 1 floating. We still fuse it. And then we play this, which will cost another. And then we can still swing Rosetta. So this is great. This is actually really good. Puts him in a real hard spot. I think we get peak in this situation, which is great. No new information. This is the card that we revealed. Oh, well, I guess he gets information here anyway. So no big deal. Creates the embodiment. That'll be our, if the arcane hits, which is like the lowest priority because it doesn't create the draw. Then this will actually go to 8 if he takes the arcane, which we like. And then 8 basically says you are either going to let channel die or give me your arsenal, which I'm fine with either one. Or use the armor. We're still in a good spot. That's okay. Still looking okay. Choose if you would like to pay 1 or discard. This is actually interesting here. We know channel's up. I don't think we need channel to close this game out. It would make a good push. He's already been through 2 channels, so we'll keep the channel. So we'll go pitch here. And then we will just go snatch, pitching this, and then we'll arsenal the channel. Has D-React. It's really good. It gets to filter. So we have an ice vein coming. Worst case scenario, it's ice vein into double pitch for waning moon and then keeping channel around. That's the worst case scenario, but we'll just fall back and start A-Bing a little bit. And then once channel's gone, we'll play ours. Kind of the game plan. Whoa. Please pitch 2 ice cards, bro. I'm not doing anything anyway. I guess. So Channel Lake's going to be out and we'll have 2 Frostbites, which means we'll need 2 blues, right? Still 1 damage. So it'll be 1 Frostbite. So we'll need to pay a total of 5 resources. And I think I just jammed the channel and then pass turn. Because he has no arsenal. So we don't really leak anything. We in a way kind of 2-step this channel right here. I guess theoretically it would have been more value to pitch a blue instead of the 2 reds and then pitch the 5. Yeah. So we lost out on a value there. We should be at 28. But what can you do? Because this 1 resource will be wasted. Slight inefficiency on my end, but hey, those things are important. Those things are important. So the earth goes on the bottom, and then we just need a turn. So we're basically going to take anything he throws at us, and this is perfectly fine. That loses you the game, Icelander. Probably should have kept the Bramble and Arsenal. Very good point. Very good point. We have to make sure that we keep stuff to pay through. So see, in this situation, if this Entwined Lightning was a flex, right? This is a 7 damage turn, but now we get to turn it into a 14. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think it's good. Entwined Lightning has been bananas today. Literally bananas. We will AB. Yeah, great point though. We traded 4 damage for 1. So great point on keeping the Bramble in Arsenal. We should have. Okay. And then we jam the Scar, obviously, because we can set up Kogan for the next turn. And this will get... he's got D-React, sure. Go to 4. And all you can do is Arsenal. I guess you could peek, sure. But then now we have tempo and a good setup Arsenal. And this should clear it out. That's fine. Mm-hmm. He has 1 floating, which is going to disincentivize me from Rosetta Thorning. So basically, we have a we have a couple choices here. We could just throw the rabble, which is like the safe option. That way, we have guaranteed setup. We could send 7, but it's very likely that we will just get the 2-card block, right? And then we have the opportunity to brick if we do that because we don't have any information about what's further down into the deck. So in this situation, I actually like just sending Rabble. The reason we're picking Rabble over Rosetta Thorn is he has the 1 floating. So this is theoretically the possibility of doing more damage. So now here we're guaranteed to get a card, which means even if he gives us, yeah. So now he has to either choose between keeping channel or an arsenal, and we have a guaranteed decent turn set up with the E-Strike and arsenal. We want to put this in arsenal. So even if he see if this E-Strike wasn't here and he didn't have, like, what would I do with this? Make a rune chant, swing. It's close. It's close. Yeah. I'm a fan of the E-Strike and arsenal. But this is not the best hand in the world, but you know, what can you do? We do this. And the reason is I want to secure the blue for next turn. Or I can't secure the blue because I need a sink. So we're definitely sending 7, obviously. There's no way around that. No, we're putting this in arsenal, so. We could obviously do 5 go again and then send 4, which demands either 3 cards in the helmet or but the only way I'm at 24. The only way I lose this game is if I brick. That's the only way I lose this game. So every single turn, all I'm going to do is say, what's the best way that I can get the most amount of cards? This is the last Channeling Frigid. He's played all fucking 3. So I'm just going to ask myself, what is the best way to guarantee that I don't brick and close the game out? That's all I'm doing. And this is a great way to close it. Okay, is there any reason to not play channel? He's already played all these. There's no reason. The worst thing you can do is create a frostbite, which we can pitch the... Yeah, this is fine. That's going to cost you 2 cards and you're going to die. So I'll just get rid of the lightning press. I bet he's shitting a brick right now when I discard a lightning press when he's at 2. We go boop. And now he doesn't have any situation where he can activate Storm Striders to grab this card from my hand. And we just close it here, no matter what. So that's my preferred playstyle in situations where I'm very far ahead. Like I'm one of those people where if you're in the middle, I like medium chances, right? Like a little bit, a little bit both ways. If I'm really far ahead, I'm not going to take any chances. And if I'm really far behind, I'll be a gamer. You guys saw in the Drill My matchup. That's just the way that I prefer playing the matchups. But yeah, let's go ahead and get one more in. Let's go ahead and get one more in. So, Michael, if you're still here, what are you? But just curious. I mean, I would assume Bravo or Lexi or Briar, but maybe you're on some spicy Levia. I don't know. But like I am the only Earth hero left. My man. My man. All right, so this one's going to be kind of a grind. You're basically looking for windows of opportunity, essentially, is all you're trying to do. And play the best spots you can when you're given them, is all you're effectively trying to do. There's an argument here. I think the armor's actually better in this situation, although Tunic feels so good sometimes. But I haven't actually tried this matchup with the new chest piece, so we'll jam it just for, learning's sake. Okay, so right off the rip, we do see AB1. We need to keep that in the back of our mind. It could be a longer game, but nothing like currently a risk where things stand. Okay, so straight off the rip, I see a D-React. So that's the number one priority to go straight into Arsenal any chance I get in this matchup. So we're just sending 10. We're trying to make the number as tall as possible to get that embodiment, and we're just going to play better math is all we're doing in this matchup. Hopefully I win this because I am an advocate that this is a 90-10 matchup in Briar's favor. A lot of people disagree with that number, but I have not lost one of these in a hot minute. And I feel like after saying that, I'm kind of due for one, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, yeah, another D-React to cover up. Okay. So right off the rip, we have to keep in mind this behavior, right? Very important, right? We need to kind of see what we need to see what his tendencies are as far as blocking goes, because if he's playing too defensive and hammering like this, he could be trying to play like a long fatigue kind of game plan. And we're not gonna let him do that. Oh, we are in trouble. Okay. What did we sink? We sunk a force of nature. Oh wait, no. Oh, fuck. I meant to sigil there. That was a mistake. Your skill. Your hand scales so well with their disruption. Yeah, well, it's not 90-10 when you draw this. Because what's gonna happen is he's gonna spawn on me after this, and I have no he's been pretty defensive. We have protection. I guess I'm lagging a little bit. Give me 1 second, chat. And okay, hopefully, okay, we're stabilizing. We're stabilizing. Okay, sorry, I had a lag spike there. So one good thing about there's nothing good about this situation, but the one thing we can grab from it is if he tries to prevent as much of this 3 damage as possible, then we're like, okay, he's in for the long game. Like this is, unless he has a bunch of shit blues, like this is kind of odd here, but we'll see. We have a pretty bad pitch stack right now, so we need to be mindful of that. We probably need to put that. I don't know. Okay, so he didn't. I mean, he could have thrown disable. Like, how is that not? I feel like he's just playing cards. Like, okay, you want to play cards? Let's play cards. Obviously, he's gonna AB it. For some reason, I'm dropping frames. Okay, we're back. We're back. Yeah, Michael, I was hoping just for a attack, and I could have like nimbleismed into it. Like, it was a dream. We've seen nothing but defense so far. So we got to start damage stacking as quickly as possible and just playing as or swinging Rosetta Thorn as many times as we possibly can with the arcane damage. Rabble could have at least blocked Rosetta there. Yep. Definitely would not have played the Brambles out. No shot. I just would have probably nimbleismed into it. Wasn't that the card that I pitched? Maybe I'm mistaken. Oh, it was like a force of nature or something, wasn't it? Because what that if I am in the unfortunate spot where he does have like a spinal crush or something, I need to increase the odds of getting an embodiment as much as possible, even though I have the D react. You gotta fucking be kidding me. Fine, we'll play it your way. Peace, my man. Actually, undo. Sync below is kind of good because we're going to be off an embodiment. We'll keep the sync. I was thinking about, should I pitch stack it? I'm not entirely sure, but I don't mind it. He can't dominate, bro. He cannot dominate due to Warmonger's recital. Okay, we haven't. So we obviously have to block 7 here. At least he's not threatened pummel. So we're definitely blocking here. That's 6 and 2 pieces of armor. We have a really good hand, and this is not. I guess this could always be fodder here if we don't. Yeah, okay. I don't mind that. So we're gonna hang on to the crown a little bit longer. No reason to really do that yet. We're gonna sink and then get rid of the CNC. Okay, and then we have that's actually perfect because we could just make the rune chant to give this go again if this does miss. But I don't want to provide that information up front, so we're just gonna go ahead and jam this. Your hand was Bramble, Bramble, Sink, Sigil. Arsenal was Sigil. Now sigiled into the nimblism. Yes. Okay. It's tough, right? I do understand what you're saying though, Michael, because like the sigil's never getting the fourth block, so the sink below is the better arsenal. 100% agree. 100%. The unfortunate part about hiding this is if he did block with these pieces of armor, he would get them back because I'm breaking the chain. But it's a necessary evil in this situation. This will come in for a healthy 7. And this should like reestablish our tempo. We have a very bad pitch stack. So we preferably this game ends before we get to about the last 8 cards in our deck. Because we have like a Bramble, Nimble, like Tome of Harvest hand that's coming up. Hopefully that gets split in half depending on where it lands. But yeah, it is not looking hot. Not looking hot. And we're just trying to play big numbers. The fact that I don't know if I've still not sold on what's happening in this match yet because he is taking damage, but he could just be smart and playing around Snatch here. Because there's a very real possibility where, okay, so I guess he is wanting to be a tad bit more aggressive, which is, it's understandable. This is my favorite play in the game. These two right here. This makes it a little bit more difficult to execute for sure. So what's our best option here? We want to keep as much threat in the deck as possible. So we have to block 6. And he's at 23 already, so I don't think it's no longer about a fatigue situation. This is kind of risky, but we have enough D-reacts left to where I can find one and get shelter. He's not going to be able to just take it. Could be wrong. This could be wrong. This might be too greedy. It's just my favorite play in the game, guys. Favorite play in the game. Especially when it hits a red. Let's go. And obviously because we have no armor, we do run the chance of running it. He is down 2 spinals. That's a positive, and a Starstruck, but there's still cripplings. There's still... we're just going to make it as expensive as possible for him to cast those and take as much life as we can to be able to cast those. And our number 1 priority is to find a D-React, put it in Arsenal as quickly as possible. And that is our number 1 priority. So in this situation, normally what I would do is if I had Crown, I would like try to find a way to set up an Arsenal, but I'm not going to be able to present enough damage to warrant getting him off of a CNC. He still has 1 more. So I'm kind of in favor of block, E-strike 7 because I don't have shelter with the Crown. And once again, I'm just trying to maintain that embodiment. Most important thing. I could just throw the rabble, but if it's a 2, it's the saddest day on the planet because he just jams the 1 piece of armor. Whereas at least I get a card here. We're definitely going to lose some tempo here, but, Yep. So in this situation, this does get a card if he wants to stop the embodiment. So I think we... I think we take 11 to increase the odds of. So what's the worst situation here? I guess we have to play the old. The problem with your line there, swing for 7, Arsenal Rabble, I would be under choke slam, so the E strike would only come in for 5. So that's not possible. So this situation, if I have swarming here, it's make a rune chant, swarming Rosetta, perfectly good line. Same thing for here and here. This is the worst scenario if I keep these two. If I keep these two, it's send Arsenal, that's fine. And then any of these combinations, I can make a rune chant, swing Arsenal. So the only combination where taking 11 backfires is if I keep both blues, which we're just going to hope we don't keep both blues. Please don't do it to me. Please don't let me keep both blues. One time. Okay, we'll take it. We take it. Wait, oh, not that one. Cancel. Here, pitch, there. Okay, so we have a little bit of shelter, but we're only going to use it as like an oh shit kind of situation. Because we're getting to the life threshold where we're going to be putting on enough pressure, assuming we can grab tempo one more time. We're going to be, getting him off his hand enough to where he cannot present something super threatening. This is so the value of sigil here is actually amazing because it basically says either you're going to take a damage or give me your arsenal. Either of which is fine. And what we can do, we can keep the sync below. So what we can do is we can sigil ping him. We'll take 4. This turns off nimblism, but as a backup, what we can do is seek horizon for go again, putting the nimblism to the bottom, and then send swarming. That'll be 7 damage plus the 1 here, so it'll be effectively 4-1. That's 5, and then 8. That'll be 13 here. I think that's the line. Because there is the obvious, like, play both D reacts, right? And then send 7, but that's just, like, super risky. Because these are my, like, last 2 D reacts. I got 1 left in the deck. But I am giving up a whole card for go again. 7... and then Arsenal, and then 4. That's just 2. Yeah, we'll do it that way. We'll do double D react. Oh, that's the line, Michael. Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Yeah, you block sync, swarm. Yep, you're 100% right, Michael. 100%. But now I'm committed. Now we're committed. What's up, Thomas? I'm doing great. Excited to see the card guys and Nats. Hey, make sure you say hi. Please, please, please. What about sync, toss the sigil to keep pressure? Yeah, no, Michael 100% had the best line. I should have blocked Gloomveil. I should have blocked Gloomveil and then sync blow and then replaced the arsenal with, yeah, he's 100% right. It's not even close. Not even close. Stopping the embodiment, kind of scary, but it's the last bit of armor. We have a decent blocking hand as long as he doesn't dominate. This is fine. This is perfectly okay. He has no more armor, so everything that comes in a break point, unless he has a D react, which he should only have one more sync, is basically ugh. Unless that happens. This is still good here because he has to respect this. If he doesn't, I will draw that, make a rune chant swarming Rosetta, which is a whole different scenario. Because I'll snap this in a heartbeat. No questions. How do Bravos beat you? If they ever do when you're on Briar. Oh, 100%. 100% keeping D-React in Arsenal is amazing. I just think it is Blue Rabble Day. That is a fact. The problem is like Briar's strategy fits so well against Bravo because you have the embodiment, right? And like you're actively trying to be defensive, where Bravo's just trying to run into something that doesn't want to block. Is kind of where he thrives the best. I just think it's a terrible matchup for Bravo. I don't think. Oh no, not like this. I'm sorry, dude. Sorry, Bravo player. But yeah, I just think that the Bravo in his game plan does not work well into Briar. I think if you run things like Amulet of Earth and a lot of things that don't block, then yeah, Bravo can run away with the game. But especially because we got the extra armor in the chest piece, like I just don't know how Bravo wins this match. Why would he not block with Tectonic and the crippling? He doesn't have any more block on left on the Tectonic. Yeah, it has 2 -1 counters on it. We're gonna snap this. He's gonna take 1. That'll make this a 7 with Gogan. And that should close the game out. Exact season unless he has a D-React. So even when we didn't... Wait, what's going on? Why not send Gloomveil? It has go again because of CMH being an aura. Absolutely. Michael, what I was doing is because I counted the lethal. Here, if he has 2/3 blocks, he takes 1, goes to 7. I'll clean it with 7. I wanted him to let the first one leak to create the aura so it pumps the swarming to 7, was my thought process. You're 100% correct. But I wanted to end the game this turn, not next turn. Yes, Michael. Yep. Not the best value on snaps, but you know, we wanted to end the game. So when you know you got the game, I try to convert it. All right, so we did pretty good. We butchered the first. I'm really chat. You guys gotta stay on to me about this. This win-loss counter that never gets updated. I think we went 3-1 on the day. We dropped it against the drone mine. We took some unnecessary risk, I would say, or we didn't take enough risk when we really had to. We also missed on a lot of sonatas and stuff like that. We played against Pat on Levy, a super close one. Eked that one out, and then we played the Icelander and then the Bravo. I don't think we played. I think it was just 4 matches. We played the Prison. We won that one. So we went 4-1 on the day. Yeah, a lot of fun. I'm just gonna open up the chat. If anybody has any questions about Chicago, about the deck list, anything you want me to go over, any questions you have about what you want or what you're going to play in Chicago, I'm all here for like the next. I'll go another 5-10 minutes, whatever you guys want. If you guys have any questions or anything. First of all, who in chat is going to Chicago? That's the question. Diana Carapace is so amazing. Beating Icelander today was just yeah. You know, so Michael, I don't know if during I'll tell Chad a little story, and this is like funny about kind of where my play style against Icelander with Briar originally developed. It was this last Nats where Michael Hamilton took it down with Bullander. I registered a Briar deck with, I kid you not, this is not a joke. I registered 2 copies of Rusted Relic. Okay. And my favorite memory of the tournament was, unfortunately, I bubbled out at 13th. It happens. But my favorite memory of that tournament was I was at table 2. This was round before last. So, I was up there in the thick of it. To my right was the other good Michael, Michael Hamilton or whatever. And he was getting deck checked. And I was playing against an Icelander. And I chose to go first, and I drew my hand, and I opened with a Rusted Relic, and I played it down, and I said, I'll play Rusted Relic and pass. And then Michael Hamilton just looked over at me and just started busting out laughing. This is at table 2, round before last, at this last year's Nats. Unfortunately, I had lethal on the Icelander, and we drew due to time, which knocked me out of top 8 for Nats. Super unfortunate, but it happens. That's something I need to be better at, is kind of like understanding when somebody's taking too long. Kind of like, I just feel like I don't know. I'm like a really easygoing guy. I try to be as nice as possible, make the experience better for everybody. I don't know. It's hard for me to mix what I'm supposed to be doing competitively with, having a good time. It's conflicting sometimes, but that's a really funny story. And I've played very slow against Icelander historically. That's where it all started. Was my whole game plan was Crown of Seeds and like AB2, and then I played like Rusted Relic, and then I would just grind them out, just slowly, just pitch, and then understanding. There's always 1 or 2 points in the game where you really got to take a chance and just put them on better not have it. Or better have it. And yeah, and if it pays off, it pays off, right? So let's answer some of these questions. When are you going to play Kodachi 5? That's Aaron. That deck's in the lab. That's a possible contention for US Nats. I am waiting on more metagame data before I either write that one off or dive deeper into it. I'm really waiting for Calling Birmingham to happen before I start. I might do a stream on it. I'm not entirely sure. All I can say is it's a 5 deck that runs Kodachi that rides a very gray line between defensive and aggressive. That's all I can say. I haven't been able to keep up with the meta as much as I wanted to. What would you say is the top deck triangle right now? I would say that currently it's Lexi, Dromai, Briar, and Bravo. I know I didn't say Iceland or what, anything away from her, right? But at the same time, she kind of like caught everybody with their pants down. Nobody was expecting Icelander. Nobody was expecting the impact of Warmongers. I think once everybody says, okay, this is what I need to do, and, you know, I think people will have a better answer for that situation. And I do not foresee any Icelanders in the top 8 at the Battle Hard in Chicago. That is my hot take. I do not think there'll be any Icelanders in the top 8 in Chicago. Do you think we will see a dark horse hero do well? Unfortunately not. if I'm going to be honest with you, I think there's going to be 4 Lexis in the top 8. I really do. I think they're going to figure out how to not get shut down by warmongers and, go from there. Pulled an extended arc carapace. Such an amazing card. Beautiful card. What do you think of Coax in Briar? That's such a good question, Zach. Such a good question. Coax in Briar is so for me, Coax of Commotion has always been the last attack action in my Briar list. And what I always do when I think of Coax of Commotion is I think, okay, first, let's look at the top 5 decks in the format. So first, I guess before we do that, what mode do we typically activate on Coax? What's like the high EV move? It's the Quicken token, right? Like, that's the whole reason you would play Coax, is to possibly get the draw and the Quicken. Okay? So with that being said, let's look at the decks in the format. And are there any heroes where I feel absolutely comfortable giving a Quicken token in an extra card? Okay, so let's do that. Lexi, don't want to give her an extra card, right? Because then she can block and it's like a filter for her. She very rarely can utilize like 6 or 7 cards, but what she can do is block with that extra blue, and then on the Coax, let it leak, and then draw 1 and maybe fire something from Arsenal with Go Again to the Quicken, or a Quicken token can always translate to +1 damage due to Voltaire in the different mode you would activate first. So I don't want to give either one of those to Lexi. Then we go to Briar. You don't ever want to do that in the Briar unless you're like doing a Force of Nature channel shenanigans and like you're just killing them. You don't want to... Next is Dromai. With Mars list going around, you do not want to give Dromai a Quicken token, because then the Dust Ups have Go Again and all kind of other shit. And you definitely don't want to give her a card. Holy shit. So that's the first thing I do, is I look and I say, what's the payoff of the Coax of Commotion? Is like, who am I willing and not willing? And for me, currently in the format, it's just not there. And then secondly, I use that spot. Is there any, like, Seek Horizons is answering the Go Again question, so is Entwine Lightning. So it's like, am I trying to answer another question with that slot? And Entwine Lightning and Seek Horizon is in there mainly to reduce the impact of Lost in Thought and Warmonger's Diplomacy. So currently, that's a much higher priority for me than the high roll potential on Coax. And I always look at Coax as high roll potential. Because drawing a random card in Briar, unless you have Force of Nature out, is kind of risky business, because you have a lot of crap blues that don't really do anything. But that's kind of my thought process on it. It's hard for me to... how do we say something like, hey, it brings me no joy to say this, but I think we both need to play faster or we draw. Yeah, it's just something I've always struggled with as a player, Michael. Just always. Yeah, I'm the type of person, like, if somebody calls a judge, I'll, like, have a hard time fighting it. I don't know. I'm the person that, like, always prefers the person to just ask me, like, they miss a tunic counter or something, like, just ask me, and like, there's a good shot that I'll do it, unless I'm just like, I don't know, having a shit day or something. I don't know. Like, yeah, I would just rather them ask. But I understand the other side. Like, the other person probably doesn't want to put me in that position. Like, I understand that. Maybe I just need to be more strict. Like, I don't know. I hope if I do that, that nobody like holds it against me. I really don't want that. It should be a stacked Battle Harden this weekend. I'm super excited. I can't wait to be there. It'll be like 150 people. Super exciting. Meeps is a viable addition to Briar deck. Yes and no. So the no part of that is the current list that I showed today is a more defensive list. So, okay. Let me explain it this way, and this is very good for anybody trying to play Briar right now. The number one question you need to answer is how you're approaching the Lexi matchup. You have two avenues, okay? There's two options that you can take to approach the Lexi matchup. You, one, either stack the deck full of defensive options. This could be the version of, this could be either, more blue 3 blocks, more D reacts, whatever the case, siding things out that don't block as well, anything like that. And then just kind of making value trades, oh, that's a searing shot for 4, blue block 4, technically blocks 5, right? And if you trade on that axis with Lexi without bullseye bracers, most turns, if you stop all the on-hit effects, if you break down the value, it's actually not that amazing until they bring in like Art of War and Rain Razors and Codex, right? You just have to survive those, right? And you get her down to a point to where she starts having to block cards, and then her value gets real piss poor. So that's how I approach the matchup. Your second option is doing things more on hit based. So running your yellow snatches, your meeps, stuff like that, your Talisman of Warfares, applying more arsenal pressure. The one thing that I'll caveat with that strategy into Lexi is you will get blown out by a red Arctic Incarceration if they hit you with it at the wrong time. And that is the problem in my testing, is there was so many times where I'd be like, oh, this hand's gas. I got like a blue meeps, a lightning press, and like a snatch or what, and like boom, Arctic Incarceration. And I'm just like, snatch for 4. Like it just, and I've had it where they Arctic Incarcerate me and I have 4 reds in my hand. And then they literally get a 1 card 12. Literally. Especially if they flip it over. If they flip it over and play it, 1 card 12. If not, it's a 1 card 9. That's not so bad either. Oh, just announced some OP. Let me see if I can pull that up for everybody. If I can find it on the website. Let me keep answering questions while I look for that. Snatch quick and not good. Facts, DM Armado. That's a fact. Yep, quarter 4. Okay, I'll go ahead and share the screen real quick. We'll go over these changes. Nice little addition here. So this is the quarter 4 OP announcement. For anybody interested, we have a calling in Melbourne. Good old Australia getting some love. Love to see it. Donkel, I'm looking at you for this. You're going to take it down. Okay, we got some battle hardens in, let's see, Orlando. That would be fun. December 8th to the 10th. I could go to that. That seems cool. Yep, that's about it. Just a few which it makes sense that this one's a little bit lighter because you have the aspect of, the holidays, if you will. That's a big thing. But that's there and then you have Battle Hardened Pittsburgh. Midwest is getting a lot of love lately on these Battle Hardens and stuff like that. But, that is great as well. So yeah, that's all that I had for this stream. I'll give it a chat a couple more seconds to throw in any questions they have. But once again, I really do appreciate everybody being here. It's always a blast. And like I said, if you see me in Chicago, please, 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 just say hi. Just say hi. We gotta do some community photos for Frank, so he can do like the photoshopping and all that stuff. We got to do that. We got to do that. Midwest hype. Yep, Australia got the love. All right, everybody. I'm going to call it there. Once again, I guess Pittsburgh's not really Midwest. That's a good point. And I guess it's more Northeast. I'll give you that. Okay, I'll give you that. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining me. Really do appreciate it. Oh, that's. Remember, Meeps don't steal money. They're good people. That's a fact. That's a fact. When you're pitching paycheck to paycheck, Meeps can't bail you out, right? No, Summer, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Everybody take care, and I will see everybody that's going to Battle Hard in Chicago at the event. Good luck to everybody going, and everybody take care.